Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Far beyond the bright trade routes, beyond the warm light of friendly stars, there was a station that orbited nothing. No planet, no sun, no view worth looking at. Station Virx 9 floated in deep space like a forgotten tool, drifting at the bottom of a cosmic ocean. It was built for one purpose: resource processing. Asteroids were dragged in by gravity tethers, stripped of metals, and turned into fuel and alloys for empires that never bothered to learn the station's name. Ships came. Ships left. No one stayed. Except her. Her name was Elira. She was not human. She was Kethari, a species known for precision thinking and emotional restraint. Her people believed feelings were chemical distractions that slowed progress. Efficiency was purpose. Purpose was life. Elira had been assigned to Virx 9 at maturity. That had been 32 standard years ago. She had never left. The shape of her world. Her body was slender and slightly taller than a human's, with smooth silver-blue skin that reflected light like brushed metal. Faint lines of bioluminescence traced her arms and neck, glowing softly when her heart rate changed. But here in the station's pale lighting, her glow was barely visible. Everything about Virx 9 was dull. The corridors were gray. The air was recycled 1,000 times over. The hum of machines never stopped. Elira walked those corridors every cycle, checking pressure seals, recalibrating processors, cleaning mineral dust from vents. Her steps made soft clicks on the metal floors. She did not sigh. She did not complain. She did not wish for anything else. Kethari were not raised to want. The sound that did belong. On cycle 11,404 of her assignment, something changed. It started as a vibration through the floor. A low, uneven tremor. Elira stopped walking. She closed her eyes and listened through her feet, a Kethari instinct older than language. The rhythm was wrong, not station machinery, not asteroid drift. It was a ship engine. A damaged one. Her wrist console lit up a second later. Unregistered vessel approaching. No identification signal. Low power output. Unregistered ships were usually smugglers or scavengers. Both meant trouble. Elira sent an automated warning. This station is not open for docking. Leave immediately. The reply came in broken bursts of static. Then a voice. Human. Repeat, engine failure, life support at 20%. Requesting emergency dock, please. She froze at the last word. Please. A request, not a demand. That was unusual. She checked external cameras. The ship limped toward the station like an injured animal. One engine flickered. The hull was scorched. A wing panel hung half-detached. It would not survive long in open space. Station protocol said. Preserve station resources. Deny unauthorized vessels. But station protocol had never accounted for a voice that sounded afraid. Her fingers hovered over the denial command. For 3.2 seconds, an eternity for a Kethari decision process, she did nothing. Then she opened docking bay 3. The human who stumbled out. The docking clamps locked with a heavy clang. Atmosphere equalized. The bay door slid open. Elira stood at the far end, posture straight, hands behind her back. The ship's ramp lowered slowly. A human stumbled down. He nearly fell on the last step. He was tall but thin, with dark hair stuck to his forehead with sweat. His clothes were dirty, patched in several places. One sleeve was burned at the edge. He looked around the massive, empty bay and let out a shaky breath. Okay, not dead, good start. His eyes found Elira. He froze. Whoa. She did not move. "You are trespassing," she said calmly. "State your purpose and expected duration of stay." He blinked, then gave a tired half-smile. "Name, Jonah Hale. Independent courier. My ship is about 10 minutes away from becoming space junk. I just need parts and maybe a little help not dying." He swayed slightly as he spoke. She noticed his breathing was shallow. "Your oxygen levels are low," she observed. "Yeah," he coughed, "that too." She hesitated, then gestured toward an inner corridor. "Follow slowly." He did. The first thing he did. Halfway down the corridor, Jonah stopped. Elira turned, annoyed. "Why have you halted?" He pointed at the wall. There was nothing there except a maintenance panel and a faded warning label. "Your seal there is leaking," he said. "Tiny pressure drop, hear that whistle." She listened. There was a faint sound. She had logged that leak for repair next cycle. "It is minor," she said. "Minor leaks become major explosions," he replied, already opening his toolkit. "Mind if I?" She stared. "You are a guest requiring aid." "Yeah," he said, tightening a seal clamp. "Doesn't mean I can't help." She watched his hands move quickly and confidently. He was tired, injured, running out of air. And still fixing her station. Something unfamiliar stirred in her chest. Inside the broken ship. His ship, the Wayfarer, was worse inside than outside. Panels open, wires exposed, emergency lights blinking red. Elira scanned the engine core. "Your primary coolant line ruptured. Reactor shielding at 60% integrity. This vessel should not still be operational." Jonah grinned weakly. "She's stubborn, I respect that. You speak of your ship as if it is alive. Aren't all good ships?" She did not answer. They worked in silence at first. Then Jonah broke it. "So you live here alone?" "Yes." "For how long?" 32 years. His wrench slipped. Alone. "Yes." He stared at her like she had said something impossible. "That's not healthy. Cathari do not require social presence for stability." He gave her a long look. "Yeah," he said softly, "you keep telling yourself that." She did not understand why that made her internal temperature rise slightly. A strange kind of conversation. Humans, she learned quickly, did not work quietly. Jonah talked while fixing wires. He talked about planets with purple oceans, about a spaceport that sold fried dough covered in sugar, about getting lost near a binary star and accidentally inventing a new curse word. Most of it was useless information. But his voice filled the ship, filled the space, filled the silence she had lived in for decades. She did not stop him. The object he should have kept. After 6 hours, the reactor stabilized. His ship would live. Jonah leaned back against the wall, exhausted. "Okay," he said, "I officially owe you my life." "That is unnecessary. I followed basic assistance protocol." He smiled. "Still counts." He reached into his pocket and pulled something out. A small, flat rectangle on a thin chain. Metal scratched, worn smooth at the edges. "What is that?" she asked. "My dog tag," he said. "From my first crew job." She scanned it. It had his name, blood type, a serial number. "This is a personal identification marker. Why are you removing it?" He held it out to her. "For you." She did not take it. "That would reduce your survival identification probability." He shrugged. "Worth it." "Explain." He looked at her glowing lines, faint, barely visible. "You saved me. Where I'm from, when someone saves your life, you give them something that matters. This object has no functional value." "It does to me." She stared at the tag. then slowly took it. The metal was warm from his skin. Her bioluminescent lines brightened without her permission. Jonah noticed. His expression softened. "Yeah," he said quietly, "that's why." Elira did not know what "that's why" meant. But for the first time in 32 years, she felt something that was not duty. The thing approaching in the dark. While they worked, neither of them saw the ship hiding beyond the asteroid field. It had been tracking the Wayfarer's distress signal. Waiting. Watching. Pirates did not care about abandoned stations. But a working station with processing cores, fuel reserves, and no defenses. That was treasure. The pirate ship powered its weapons and turned toward Vyerk's 9. A feeling with no name. Jonah prepared to leave the next cycle. His ship could limp to the nearest trade hub now. "You could come with me," he said casually while sealing a panel. She looked at him. "Cathari assignments are permanent." "Doesn't mean they should be. This station requires maintenance." He nodded. "Yeah, but who maintains you?" She had no answer. He noticed. He did not push. Humans, she realized, knew when silence meant something important. The first alarm. The station lights turned red. A deep, echoing alarm rolled through the corridors. "Hostile vessel, DTCTD. Weapons lock incoming." Elira froze. Jonah swore under his breath. "Pirates," he said, "they must have followed me." Her training activated instantly. "Proceed to escape vessel. Undock immediately." He grabbed her wrist. "I'm not leaving you." "That is illogical. This station is not defensible." "Then we defend it anyway." "You will die." He met her eyes. "Yeah," he said, "but you don't have to die alone." Something inside her, something she had never used, never trained, never understood, made a decision before logic could. She did not pull her hand away. Outside, the first pirate shot slammed into the station hull. Metal screamed. Lights flickered. And for the first time in her entire life, Elira was afraid. But she was not alone. The station shuddered. Red lights bathed the corridors. The air smelled of ozone and scorched metal. Alarms screamed a warning across the empty bays. Elira's pulse quickened faster than it ever had, not from fear of damage, not from worry about systems. This was different. It was fear for someone else. Jonah's hand was still holding hers. He crouched beside a bulkhead console, eyes scanning the pirate ship's approach. The vessel moved like a predator, dark and angular, no markings, weapons glinting coldly under the distant starless sky. "They're coming straight for us," he muttered. "If they hit the core, we're done." Elira's mind raced. Protocol after protocol activated. Emergency seal routines, core isolation sequences, fire suppression protocols. She moved her hands along the console with mechanical precision, every motion calculated. But the rapid pulse in her veins, the bright flare of her bioluminescent lines, betrayed the conflict in her chest. "Get to safety," she said. "I'm not leaving," Jonah replied. Her logic processors fired. Humans are known for reckless behavior. Your survival probability is minimal. "And your survival probability just went up because I'm here," he countered, eyes sharp, voice calm despite the flashing red lights. Elira blinked. She had never encountered a being willing to put themselves at risk for someone else. Not once. The Cathari calculated. Efficiency said retreat, isolate, survive. Yet here was a human defying logic, following emotion, following something beyond calculation. The first strike. A deafening boom shook the station. The floor vibrated under their boots. Dust rained from ceiling panels. "Hull breach, Sector Delta," Elira reported. "External pressure decreasing, initiating emergency field." Jonah yanked her toward the nearest maintenance bay. "We can't just hide," he shouted. "We have to fight." Fight. Her mind scrolled through all known defense protocols. The station had no weapons, no shields, no fleet to call. They were a floating metal shell in a predator's path. Fighting was illogical. Yet something inside her pulsed with heat, brighter than any glow she had felt in 32 cycles. Something human, something like defiance. "Fine," she said, "but follow instructions precisely." He grinned. "You got it, Tech." They raced down the corridors, sealing bulkheads behind them to slow the invaders. She activated the station's energy conduits, diverting power from non-essential systems to reinforce structural integrity. The lights along her arms pulsed bright white, a warning signal to anyone who understood Cathari bioluminescence. Danger, high stress, proceed with caution. Jonah followed, clutching a plasma cutter like a makeshift weapon. He improvised barricades, sealing doors just in time as the first pirate boarding drones breached the outer bay. Small, insect-like machines with clawed appendages and scanning sensors, designed to disable ships quickly. "They're faster than I thought," he muttered, deflecting one with his cutter. Sparks flew and the machine shrieked before collapsing. "Focus on survival, not combat," Elira snapped. Her voice was flat, but her eyes, wide and glowing, betrayed the rush of adrenaline she had never known. A human strategy. Jonah's mind raced. The station's AI could handle systems, but it could not predict human unpredictability. He moved quickly, shouting instructions. "Divert auxiliary power to the exterior lights, overload the cameras. They use visual sensors." Elira obeyed instantly, her fingers dancing across the consoles. The station flickered and flashed, confusing the drones as they swarmed the inner bays. Jonah used the chaos to disable their main control interface with a precise plasma cut. Sparks and smoke filled the air. He turned to her. "See, humans aren't just reckless, sometimes we're useful." Elira's glow pulsed at a faster rate. The concept of usefulness beyond function was alien, yet here was proof, living and breathing beside her. Proof that someone could act without calculation and still achieve results. The bond of survival. Hours passed like moments. The station shuddered under repeated attacks. The pirates attempted multiple breaches, firing energy cannons at outer hull sections. Attempting to fry core stabilizers, every alarm screamed, every conduit flared. Elira moved with uncanny precision. Her bioluminescent lines brightened in rhythm with Jonah's breathing. They fought together, him improvising, her calculating, him risking, her protecting, moving in a rhythm that neither had experienced before. At one point, a drone broke through the security grid and surged toward Jonah. Without thinking, she leapt forward, using her body to shield him as she activated the station's emergency magnetic field. The drone clattered harmlessly to the floor. Jonah's eyes widened. You just... "I calculated probability of survival. You were highest priority," she said, her voice calm but slightly uneven. "You saved me," he said softly, and smiled despite the smoke and sparks. Something inside her shifted. She had saved others before, many times, but never someone who cared whether she lived, never someone who trusted her presence as part of their own survival. The turning point. By the 4th hour, the pirates had begun to retreat, realizing the station was more resilient than anticipated. Their drones destroyed, their firepower partially diverted, they limped away to deeper space. Elira sank to a maintenance catwalk, breathing hard. Jonah approached slowly, offering a hand to help her down. "You okay?" he asked. "I do not understand what you mean by okay," she said. "Emotionally," he replied. "You just risked yourself for me. That's something humans feel. Relief, maybe pride, I think." Elira stared at him, her bioluminescence dimmed, a slow, calming pulse. She had no word for what she felt, only awareness, connection. Jonah noticed and smiled softly. "You're glowing." She did not answer, but she did not hide it either. The gift of recognition. After the battle, Jonah rummaged in his kit and produced a small, smooth crystal from his pocket. It glowed faintly blue. "For you," he said. "I don't know if it'll help, but I want you to have something, not for function, not for survival, just because." Elira stared. No Cathari had ever given her anything for no purpose, no reward, no calculation. "What is it?" she asked, voice soft. "Just a gift," he said. "No strings, no obligations, just recognition." She hesitated. Slowly she reached out, touching the crystal. It was warm. It pulsed gently in her hand. Her bioluminescent lines flared in response, bright and uncontrolled, like a sunrise she had never seen. And in that moment she understood something humans knew instinctively. A gift was more than an object. It was attention, trust, appreciation, care. For the first time in decades, Elira felt seen. Building something new. Weeks passed after the attack. The station required extensive repairs. Vierx 9 had never been built for battle, yet the humans stayed, assisting with work and offering ideas. They worked side by side, human improvisation meeting Cathari precision. Elira found herself laughing once, a soft, unpracticed sound, when Jonah's makeshift lever system malfunctioned spectacularly. He grinned, unfazed. "Told you humans weren't just reckless." She realized something incredible. Humans were more than utility. They acted out of thought, yes, but also emotion. They risked, they gave, they cared. They created bonds. They created meaning. And she wanted in. The final test. One cycle, while repairing the outer hull, a shard of metal floated loose from a docking tether. It spun toward Jonah at high speed. Reflexively, Elira dove, pushing him out of the way. Her body slammed against the metal wall. Pain shot through her arms, her shoulders. Her glow flared bright white. Jonah grabbed her hand. "You okay?" "I am," she said, ignoring the ache. "But you are priority." He looked at her, eyes wide, and then he did something she had never expected. He placed his hand on hers, a simple gesture, grounding, human. "You saved me. I'd do the same for you, always." Something deep in her chest, unspoken, uncalculated, responded. Her lines pulsed gently across her arms and neck, the softest glow she had ever felt. She realized she wanted to give him something back. The gift she could give. She extended her hand, letting her bioluminescence spill over his fingers, a gentle warmth. It was Cathari custom, a silent, unspoken gift of trust and recognition. Jonah's eyes widened, then he smiled. "I'll take it," he said simply. In that moment, neither needed words. They understood the unquantifiable: respect, gratitude, trust, connection. Elira had lived 32 cycles alone, unseen, unheard. Now she was alive, truly alive. A new dawn for the station. Months later, Vierx 9 was thriving. Humans and Cathari worked side by side, repairing the station, improving systems, and learning from one another. New alliances formed. Trade routes opened. The station became more than a tool. Elira stood on the observation deck, the blue crystal in her hands, warm from her touch. She watched the stars beyond. The void no longer felt empty. Jonah approached, carrying a cup of nutrient fluid. "For you," he said, mirroring the gesture from months ago. She smiled softly, glowing faintly as she accepted it. The gift was more than an object. It was recognition, trust, and care. And she understood now. Humans were remarkable not for their strength or speed, but for their depth, their ability to see others, and their courage to act on it. For the first time, Elira felt purpose beyond duty. She was not just a technician. She was not just a function. She was seen, valued, alive. And when she gave Jonah her own silent gift of trust and light, it was not calculated, not expected, not required. It was hers, and that was enough. Vierx 9 would no longer be a station that floated forgotten in the dark. It had light, and in that light, Elira and the humans she had come to trust would thrive together. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the observation deck, and for the first time, the void did not feel lonely. The end.